value.
On that note, we're going to start the meeting. If we could, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:31, and we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Go ahead and take your seats. I think we're doing pretty good on attendance today. Councilor Dombrowski, welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Ed, how are you?
Hi, Ed. Bob, I see one missing.
Yes, sir. Everybody is accounted for except for Christie. So
Okay.
we've got plenty of folks for a quorum.
Okay. So, Rob, would you like to present the minutes? Is there a motion on the table to?
Sure, I move. Since I didn't do the minutes this time, that seems appropriate. Thank you again, Joe, for stepping in. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor of approving the December minutes, please indicate by raising your hand or saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Joe, thank you very much for the work that you did last month. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I just want to know how much Rob paid you to do that.
You'll never know.
Probably not. Okay. Any members of the public? I don't see anybody. Let me just double check. See if there's anybody. No, I don't see anybody from the public that wishes to speak. Okay. I guess our VSO is considered public.
Okay.
So you're next on the agenda, though.
Okay, then. That being said, the VSO report for the month of January from December. The Veterans Monthly Food and Dry Goods Support Program will be held tomorrow, January 17th, behind the Senior Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. All 26 applicants have been notified today. If any veteran, spouse, or immediate family member of a veteran would like to participate in this program and to be included in the drive-through and pickup, please call our office for further information at 781-246-6377. The products are offered through the Greater Boston Food Bank and the Wakefield Food Pantry. There's a selection of meats, vegetables, and canned goods, as well as dry goods. The next Veterans Coffee Social will be held this Saturday, January 20th at the Senior Center, 30 Converse Street, Wakefield, downstairs in the cafeteria from 10 a.m. through 12 noon. Our guest speaker will be Barney B. Silien, the Veterans Outreach Coordinator for the Home Base Program. Home Base is a Red Sox Foundation Massachusetts General Hospital program. They provide mental health care for veterans and their families, providing resources that assist with healing the invisible wounds of war. He will be discussing some of the aspects of what they do for veterans and how to contact them, as well as many of the awesome programs they have. Please come and share some of the highlights of the proposed HERO Act Fact sheet being offered by the Healy Driscoll administration. I have the two-page report available in my office for anyone wishing to review it, or you can visit the mass.gov website to see it in more detail. The trip to Washington for the Vietnam veterans rolled to D.C. from the district has left a residual fund available for Wakefield in the amount of $2,900. I am recommending the monies be put into the Veterans Relief Fund for Wakefield for any future hardships or service needs for veterans or spouses in the community. Please advise. As I have mentioned each month under Chapter 150 of Massachusetts General Law, the Commonwealth provides a uniform program of financial and medical assistance for veterans and their dependents. Qualifying veterans and their dependents receive necessary financial assistance for food, shelter, clothing, fuel, and medical care in accordance with a formula that takes into consideration the number of dependents and income from all sources. For appointments for veteran services, please contact me with any questions you may have regarding ongoing benefits or submission of new benefits. We're located downstairs, the rear entrance of the Senior Center, 30 Converse Street, Wakefield, and is by appointment only. Veteran service hours are operating Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Holidays on Monday hours will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Voicemail is checked 7 days a week at 781-246-6377. Feel free to call my office at any time for any reason related to veteran services. Thank you. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions for the VSO?
I know we had talked about possibly lighting the sign at Veterans Field and using some of that money. I don't know if it can be used for that purpose, but also probably lighting up the flag that's there. Because if that's flown at night, it needs to be lit up.
It has a street lamp on it, Dan, that is appropriate. It does reach over to it. But a more distinguished light, I think that would be fabulous, attached right to that pole, aiming at the flag and the sign itself.
I don't know if some money could be transferred out into that fund. And I don't know if that'd go to the DPW or what, but I think that'd be great.
It needs to be priced out, and it has to be priced out by the town to get a number, a dollar figure, and as far as the pricing of the equipment and putting it together to make it work.
Yeah, I'm sure the DPW probably has an electrician that's, that does work for the town, and maybe that could cut the cost too.
Absolutely would.
Hey, while we're on this topic, I wanted to say, Dave, I appreciate you reaching out to the Triple C and taking care of the flag. They had a damaged, tattered flag out in front of the Triple C on Preston Street, and I mentioned it to Dave, and he brought a flag over, and they hooked it up. And it looks great. So thank you for doing that, Dave.
I got plenty of flags, folks. The Sal Gesamando donation. I've got plenty of flags, and Paul recently came into a flag that was given to us. I to have it retired. I believe, Paul, is that correct? That large flag?
It is to be retired. The weight of the flag is about 50 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe it probably flew over a car dealership or something.
Yeah, it was flown on a business on Route 1, I'm sure. It's big. I've seen a flag like that fly in front of Liberty Chevrolet once in a while. But anyway, it's upstairs. I'll coordinate with the Boy Scouts to see if we can include that in the retirement ceremony somehow. And ideally, what I'd like to have is if they can cut the blue section out of it and then grab the 50 stars off of that flag and then use those to as gifts, to commemorate the stars. The stars are probably, I don't know, maybe 6 inches in diameter.
Paul, I was thinking about that even further, where if we could put the name of each state into each star and have that one blue starred area framed up with each state having its name in the star, either embroidered or put in with a marker of some sort, neatly presented like that. Maybe
Yeah,
for one of the schools.
I'll just say it's the largest flag that I've ever handled personally. I do have one request for David as the VSO. You and I had a discussion this week about the numbers in the different towns of those that are receiving Veterans Administration benefits. That information, without names or anything, it doesn't have names or anything attached. It's just numbers, but it talks about the quantity and the value that the VA administration and those veterans are receiving in the town of Wakefield. And that might be something to add to your report.
Yeah, okay. $545,000 this year. not counting Chapter 115 disbursements, Paul. It's a lot for one town, only 18 hours a week. Most towns that have 40 plus hours a week with 2 VSOs are only doing 300,000, maybe near 400,000. A lot of it is, as I said before, the process. It took me 5 years to get to this point. And as you know, Paul, having been there, what, almost a year now or 1 year full? Are you there one full year?
Closer to half a year.
Okay, it feels like a lot longer, doesn't it? Huh?
Yeah, it does.
The type of knowledge that it takes, and I'll tell you, when VSOs leave after only 6 to 8 months, and they've replaced them, the VSOs are never given the community a fair opportunity for the services that they're allowed to have and their benefits, because the process of learning is incredible. It really is. And there's 2 stovepipes. There's the Massachusetts stovepipe of 115 and annuities, and there's the federal level of it, which is the VA itself. And between the people living longer now and more wars and skirmishes throughout the world that we're involved in, the amount is, like I said, it's no longer a babysitting job. It's
Well, let me help you out, David. I just want to kind of stick to the numbers.
yeah, okay, that's it. That's
540,000 right now are being paid to veterans in Wakefield. Is that correct?
Say again, how many?
$540,000 annually is being paid to veterans in
Well, this
Wakefield.
year passed. Yeah, before last year was a little more, I think. And I had that one big allotment of 246,000 to one client. So,
And how many on the Chapter 115 do you have in Wakefield?
10.
Okay.
But I got 2 more coming in next week. It's going to start coming up. They're going to start showing up.
So that's a little bit, just my elementary math. That's a little bit north of 750,000 coming into Wakefield.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Just kind of to help you out, again, as advisors to the town council, that's good information to have for town council. You have your hand up, Councilor Dombrowski?
Yes, I just wanted to mention on the illumination of the sign and the of the flag at Vetsfield. I'll follow up on that, and I think I can get that squared away. So let me just take care of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just kind of want to formalize the meeting here for a little bit. We have quite a few items to talk about. David, you started to kind of get into one of them that is on the list for the agenda. And I want to just, why don't we continue with that? I'm going to ask, is there a motion for discussion for a full-time veteran service officer in Wakefield to open, is there a motion to open the discussion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a seconded?
I'll
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of opening the discussion? Okay. David, you're on. Why do we need a full-time veteran service officer?
Well, as I've been reiterating in the past, the population of Wakefield now is somewhere around 25 to 27,000, and it's growing with the number of the construction being done in the town along the railroad tracks, along the highways. It's obvious they're going to be putting up a lot of apartments, a lot of condos, a lot of timeshares, whatever's going to be happening. The population of this town is going to hit 30,000 plus within 4 years. And with the increased amount of veterans in the community and the spouses in the community as well, a lot of them are living longer. There's a lot of gravesides, graves, financial assistance being done. There's burials. There's all sorts of angles. I could go on to it all night, but I'm going to summarize it real quick. That I think that 18 hours is just not enough. It's in the military, we call that a blivet, 5 pounds of crap in a 1 pound bag. And it's not very comfortable, or does it smell well when it gets to a point where it can no longer be absorbed by the community. And I hate to see that happen. And I will not leave at any given time until I'm sure I can leave Wakefield in good hands. I was offered a position in Boston with the Veterans Administration back in December through Santiago's office. I have not, I turned it down for now, and it might still be open later as the Director of Policies and Procedures for Veteran Services. And I handed them 3 new ones that they thought were fantastic on a national level. So, in my opinion, not having a position of 35 hours in Wakefield for Veteran Services is a disgrace. It's a crime, really, because if you can see I'm telling you, I have over 600 files that I've had in the 4.5 years I've been doing this. And that's just a drop in the bucket. It's expanding at an exponential rate. And I just want to see it get done properly. That's all. Thank you.
Kind of to be clear, one way of looking at this is 18 hours a week to manage a budget of 750K. Just throwing it out there. That's quite a lot.
Marion?
Yeah.
I agree. There's so much paperwork alone that goes along with that job. I mean, getting calls from all different kinds of Gold Star wives and knowing what they're entitled to. I'm getting an education myself, all the things that they are entitled to, and that the person I send them to is their local VSO, because they're the ones that have the knowledge. They're the ones that can go on to their computers and pull up their husband's information and let them know, yes, you're of it, you can get this. No, you're not eligible for this. But it's time consuming for just one person to go through all the things that just a Gold Star wife is entitled to. Well, and to find out if she is even entitled to the DIC and what have you for the Gold Star wives. And there's so much more that they have to look up for that, what the veterans are entitled to, and fighting to get what they really need. And 18 hours is not, that's like 2 people. That's like doing 2 people's work. It's just done. It's not enough. It should be a full-time job. It is a full-time job.
I do a lot at my own home, on my own time. So I was here yesterday for 4 hours, just so that today wouldn't be like a holiday Monday, which the phone rings off the hook. I walk into 5 or 6 voicemails every day. And I want you to know, each veteran that comes to my office, I cannot spend less than an hour and a half with that individual during the process of getting their claim initiated. And then the times they have to come back because they maybe needed to bring a voided check with them to send along with the 526, or to get their support of the claim in, the intent to file, the power of attorneys. There's usually 6 to 8 documents per veteran. So if I'm getting 4 or 5 veterans a day knocking on my door, telephone calls, or 3 in the office alone, that's the 6 hours, and I need another 4 to get those cleared up and taken care of. I can describe this to you in many different angles, but I'll tell you right now, I can understand why when I said to Marianne, my administrator, after the first year of doing this, I think I like this job. I think I'm going to try to be here the longest. She said, you already have been. I know, it's actually kind of comical. So I challenged it, and I'm still challenging it. And one of the veterans in my office today asked about the second to last that were in the office. Whatever happened to so-and-so? And I said, well, she went on to work for the VA, a 40-hour-a-week job, as did Hector Arena, the guy before me. And the person before her did the same thing. And the person before her couldn't do computers, so he quit. He was also 60 or 70 years old and didn't understand computers at all. But anyhow, back then they were doing it all through scanning and using barcodes and everything. But the program has developed incredibly well in so many ways, between the scanning and the submission of documents right to the Kennedy Building or Providence and right off to Janesville, Wisconsin, or down to Georgia, or even, believe it or not, Puerto Rico for the Camp Lejeune claims. That's another thing. The PACT Act has increased the doors, open doors for so many veterans coming in with medical issues that they weren't even sure where it came from until the presumptives came to the surface on their bladder cancer or their prostate cancer or their heart disease or their neuropathy and things like that. So all of those, each defined areas and concerns for their health, all goes back to problems related to veteran service. And as an officer of those folks in our community, I want to see them get the best care they possibly can.
I think some other things are, I challenge somebody to go down there tomorrow when you have the food pantry for the veterans.
I need someone tomorrow. I actually need Dan, my volunteer had taken a fall and hurt his back. He won't be there tomorrow to help out at 7 a.m. To offload the Greater Boston pantry truck into the Memorial Hall in the ice and snow, then package it up for the 26 recipients. Will come to the back of the senior center from 9 o'clock to noon to pick it up. And then the couple that don't have cars, I will bring it to their homes. Anyhow, that's how that works. And it's just part of the job. I don't mind. I kind of like doing it, to be honest with you. The smile on their faces is priceless. Okay. That being said, if anyone out there wants to help me tomorrow, Memorial Hall in Melrose at 7 a.m. would be great.
I know a long time ago that Mary Ann used to also help out on that. And it's quite a procedure to see what goes on in Melrose. You know, it's a few hours, and I worked there one day, and believe me, I'm still recovering from it.
We appreciate your help too, Dan.
Yeah.
And Paul's got 75 over there.
No, 85.
80 now, yeah.
I've got 85 families to feed in Saugus.
And I had 2 sign up today for next month.
Any other points for discussion? I will say that it's very difficult to get this kind of a decision into the proper channels for decision. Okay, to make a change from a full-time and from a part-time employee to a full-time employee. One of the things that I think needs to be done, and I hate to say it this way, but it was addressed to me earlier. If you're working 18 hours a week, how many veterans are not receiving services? And what will it take for those services to be brought to that population? And that's a number I don't think you have just yet.
I can tell you, Paul, on my calendar, I'm about 2 weeks out, almost 3 weeks out now before I can see some veterans for appointments. Okay. And what's going to reach a point where I'm putting them 2 months out. And when it gets to that point, it's really, really going to be bad. I'm going to address it even more substantially with Steve Mayo and Evan, the Director of Veteran Services in Boston. I just was wondering one more thing, not to change subject, off subject. That $2,900 that's coming to us from Saugus from the Roll to DC program, is this going to be voted on tonight by the VAB here to put that money in the Veterans Relief Fund?
We can make a motion to do that a little bit further down the road. I want to end this.
I want to get that money into our treasury as soon as we can.
Okay. Any other discussion on full-time veteran service officer for the town of Wakefield?
Well, what steps can we take to get this moving? Write letters to town council, people, right? I mean, what can we do to get this moving so that, I mean, I know it's not going to be in this budget or what have you, but there's got to be something we can do as a board to try and get it to the forefront, maybe with the council or something.
Well, Ed's here for the council, so we could talk to him.
That's exactly why I said it.
I don't know. I don't know if that could.
Hang on a minute. I saw Councilor Dombrowski's hand go up real quick and then come down.
Okay. So I'll just say that we've actually just begun the budget process. The first batch of budgets just came before the council last meeting. So this is certainly something that can be discussed in the context of budgeting for fiscal 25, which begins July 1. Yeah. So I'm happy to have that discussion with Steve Mayo and Kevin Gill, our accountant to begin with, and then bring it before the council when that budget comes before us. But it's certainly we haven't missed the boat for the upcoming budget cycle. Certainly not.
I'll tell you though, Ed, one of the things that people may not be aware of, as the district, Wakefield is paying 1/3 of the salary for the district director in Melrose. A lot of her salary comes out of the Wakefield budget. I think it's about $30,000. Okay. 30,000, Saugus's money goes to the Melrose, position for her as well. And they have a VSO there he's leaving now. They'll get another one. And they have her, and they have Jackie, the three of them. Jackie's doing the 115s and some other things, okay, along with the district. Okay, so if we weren't paying the district position, instead we had our own veteran service officer here, that 30,000 would be translated into the position of the 18 hours, which I don't think would be a problem. Be honest with the budget, we'd save money. We would save money and get more out of it. I think we have to get the approval of Evan, who is the Massachusetts, the MVSOA director for Veteran Services, to approve it, along with Steve Mayo.
Well, the other thing for Councilor Dombrowski is CMR 108, Chapter 12.
Section 3.
Dictates the size of the community and the hours that the VSO is working.
As a minimum, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And if I recall correctly, the CMR 108 says a community that has a population of over 12,000 residents is authorized to have a full-time veteran service officer.
It's actually mandated.
And just another point for Councilor Dombrowski, the town of Stoneham does have a full-time veteran service officer.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Does any other town in our around here have one? Is it just Stoneham?
Woburn, Reading, North Reading, they all have them.
Yeah, they
Okay.
all have 'em.
And all those people come to me because they're not getting satisfied where I have to turn them away.
So if it's mandated, that would be a good fact for Mr. Dombrowski to bring forward to the board. Can I ask Mr. Dombrowski if he's heard what he's heard is something that it sounds like he would recommend it? He would carry the recommendation from this committee?
Certainly. You might remember that in the last couple of years, our veteran services budget has actually been decreased. I voted against the decreases, but the budget wasn't being fully expended. In part, so I don't think this is an issue. I mean, we have a large veteran population here in town. As Dave has explained, there are important opportunities for benefits that are likely being forfeited right now. And yeah, we do have a growing population. We're at about 27,000 plus now. 10 years ago, we're at about 25,000. So that's almost an 8% increase or thereabouts in our population, and our population is getting older too. So yeah, I think absolutely this is something that should be brought up. I appreciate it being brought up here. It would be helpful for me to be able to go back to the council and have these discussions. Mind you, the council ultimately votes on budgets and then makes the recommendations to town meeting. It's ultimately a town meeting where the budget is approved in its entirety. So, but I'd like to be able to see this if it's the will of this board to be able to go back to the town council and indicate as much. So I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if there's a way you could perhaps just take a vote or at least kind of get a consensus vote, so I can go back and let them know, whether this is something that the board as unanimously supports or majority supports or maybe doesn't.
So I would ask the town, the council, if there's a motion, or if one of you would like to put a motion together that we can vote on, and that would move this forward so that Councilor Dombrowski could take this to town council.
Mr.
Robert.
Chairman, yeah, if you don't mind, I would move to recommend that the town of Wakefield have a full-time 35-hour a week VSO going forward.
Could I just ask the question? Does anybody know when we started into this 3-town circuit for the VSO? Because I remember going back in history, I thought Wakefield had its own years ago.
They did.
I can go back, Dan, knowing that they tried this before to get full-time and it wasn't, approved by the Boston office, Evan. I can't pronounce his name properly, so I'm not gonna say it. It's a long last name that I don't know why I can't say it properly. It's shame on me. But I call him Evan anyhow, and, great guy, but, he turned it down before and it was agreed upon by the administrator. I went back, I believe it was about 12 years ago. As far as I know, it's been part-time in a district for 12 years, maybe longer.
Yeah. Because I remember, I believe it was Brian McGrail's father was the VSO for Wakefield for a long time.
He's
So-
the gentleman, I think, that didn't have the computer literacy to continue with the
Right.
position.
You
So
didn't.
Dave, the district VSO gets to decide whether Wakefield can have its own full-time VSO?
No, it's Evan, it's Evan in Boston. He can decide on it. He can decide to grant it, where it'd have to be approved by the town administrator or mayor of the town. Now, Evan, I can get you his contact numbers anytime you want it.
No, I mean, as long as the district is still getting their 30,000, like, and we're not trying to change that, I don't know why anybody would care
Well,
about
they
the
have their
town
own-
agreeing to pay for a full-time administrator or VSO.
They have a full-time district director and a part-time veteran service officer there now in Melrose. And they're paying for part-time VSO and a part of a district director. So in the long run, they won't need a district director any longer. That position will disappear, or the new hire coming in to take the VSO position will be a permanent VSO at 40 hours a week, 35 hours a week for Melrose, pulling the position for Wakefield and Saugus, separating them as the 35-hour-a-week positions. There, consequently, you're going to get more out of them. I know Paul's putting in a lot more than his 18. We talk regularly now, and I found him doing even more than I'm doing sometimes, which I thought was unnecessary.
I guess what I would recommend is let's take a vote as a VAB. Let's give Mr. Dombrowski the hopefully unanimous backing of this board to take to the town council. And if
Right.
we agree as a town to have a 40-hour a week, 35-hour a week full-time VSO, and then there are other discussions that have to happen, outside of the town to do that, so be it. But let's at least do that tonight, yes?
Yeah, I second Bob's motion. I think we should vote on that to give Ed the information he needs to start forward anyway, and then we could go from there, whatever else we have to do.
Okay, so hang on, there's a second on the motion. Let me just read the motion that I have in front of me, or that we have in front of us as a board. The motion is to support a 35-hour a week, full-time employee, veteran service officer that supports the CMR 108, Chapter 12.
Yep, sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay, does that work for everybody? Okay, so there's a motion on the table that's been seconded. We'll go ahead and call a vote. I'm gonna go around the room on this one,
Okay,
okay? Which means I'm gonna change my screen. Anyway, I'll start with Dale,
absolutely.
okay? Chris,
Yes.
Dan Benjamin,
Yes.
Mark Young,
Yes.
Robert Ettinger,
Yes.
Bill Curran,
Yes.
Marion Dennehy,
Yes.
Mark Young,
Yes.
Bill Curran, You're muted, Bill.
He said yes.
Yes.
Okay. And Joe DeLeo. You're muted, Joe.
Yes.
Okay. My vote would be yes. Did I leave anybody out? No. So you got a unanimous vote from the Veterans Advisory Board to support a 35-hour full-time employee veteran service officer supporting the CMR 108 Chapter 12.
Could I ask an information question? And
Sure.
is thing that the town council could approve or disapprove, or does this have to go to town meeting, the final?
Well, the town council votes on budgets as presented with any modifications to them, but ultimately it's at town meeting that the budgets ultimately get approved. So we're just approving recommendations to town meeting, but it's those at town meeting that ultimately approve the budgets.
And I would also add that not only town council should get involved and will get involved, but also this is going to be a request from the town, I'm sure, to the Secretary of Veteran Services,
Right.
which is a cabinet position. So there's that's a high level decision that needs to be included in this motion. Just to move it.
I have emailed Evan on this, and I told him that this basically in the summarized what I discussed here tonight, but he never got back to me, which leads me to believe that he knows about it, and whether or not he's going to make a decision based on the town of Wakefield's final request to have the move made and transfer it back to the community at large. Then that's going to be up to them, which he would probably want to do. Evan would probably want to do that, I would think, to get a more effective position out of the town, as well to break away from the district, as it would for Saugus, and to give Melrose a more focal point there.
Right.
Would
Let
this
me follow up though. I cannot speak for Evan and the EOVS.
No.
But one of the challenges that a full-time veteran service officer has is certification and education. Okay. And what do I mean by that? There currently is a certification program for the state programs that we have for the Chapter 115. And if you're working in a district, the part-time veteran service officer does not have the requirement to be fully certified for the state level 115 programs. At the federal level, for a VA certified veteran service officer, we currently have two, count them 1, 2, what we call NVSOs, National Certified Veteran Service Officers. Okay, that work with all 320 veteran service officers. A full-time veteran service officer would probably have the expectation of becoming an NVSO. To put it in comparison, that's the equivalent of maybe a project manager becoming PMP certified, or somebody who's working in accounting becoming a CPA. Okay. And that's a national certification by the Veterans Administration. That's what you're up against in that job.
I believe if it's certified, you can represent a client for the VA, almost like a lawyer.
The two that we have, I understand, are lawyers. Yes.
I know, I think the VSO in Reading, I believe, is certified.
Don't know. Okay, but there is a certification path for full-time veteran service officers. So
Yeah,
I just-
William, in Reading, you said, Dan, William is certified. And he's been after me to get certified now. And I have an avenue in which I can do that real easily. And I'm sure I could have no problems at all doing it. I've been training a lot of the new VSOs now as they come along, with shortcuts that I've developed, and Paul can attest to that. I gave him a lot of information up front. And also Richie in Melrose, and Ryan in Stoneham. I have given them all shortcuts and acted as their liaison, or as a mentor, a guide for them, to get themselves situated more comfortably. And it's working, and I know that I can become certified without any problem at all.
I would submit that the ultimate goal is to eliminate the bottleneck that we currently have in processing claims with the Veterans Administration. That's where we really want to go. And I think training is going to help that. I voted for you, for this position, but I'm not sure a part-time veteran service officer or a full-time veteran service officer is the solution to eliminate the bottleneck with claims processing that we currently are experiencing with the Veterans Administration.
Aren't they
Right.
two different issues?
Marion,
I agree with you, Paul, and I know that, Santiago is aware of that. That was one of the things he spoke at our chapter meeting about, because we kind of jumped all over him about it. So he kind of had to talk about it. And he's aware of it. He said they're working on it, but it's disheartening, because there are some VSOs that they put in that position. And I think, Dave, you'll back me up. There are some they put in that position that are lazy, that don't do anything, that they have people calling them. I don't care if it's Gold Star wives or veterans' widows or the veterans themselves, and they never call them back. And it's unfortunate, but that's one of the things we said to him. You need to start screening your people better and getting people that are going to be VSOs that are actually there to do the job and not just, put in time, because there's so many of them, which, and I have apologized to Dave that I've had people call me and I'd say, call my VSO and maybe he can direct you to somebody closer to you that will actually help you, because that's the kind of treatment they're getting. And it's not just the wives I'm talking about. I'm talking about the veterans themselves that desperately need the help and they're getting no feedback. And that's part of the problem, is putting people in the position that actually want to do the job and don't want to just put in time.
And the awareness factor, Marion, today had two veterans in my office who one of them was not aware. He's on chapter 115 right now, a Vietnam veteran who's had heart problems, heart issues, had a pacemaker put in. Agent Orange was all over him. He never put a claim and wasn't aware of what it was he was entitled to, probably because he doesn't stay on top of things. But again, there are a lot of veterans who just don't know that there are benefits available for them.
Right.
And they're destitute and they're dying, or they're having issues that are just overwhelming them financially, or through medical issues and everything else. And it's sad in a way, some of them, yet it's rewarding for some of them who had no idea they're not going to lose their house now, because although their health is deteriorated because of the burn pits in Iraq or whatever that caused them all kinds of physical and mental issues, the invisible scars of war, and now they're going to lose their house. Well, now they're not, because the VA is supporting them with maybe a benefit, Okay, I think that the whiteboard here, who's that? Is that me? I think
That
that
may have
was-
been,
Did.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is they not only don't know what they're entitled to, but when they go to some of these VSOs, they don't even help them find out what they're entitled to.
That I know. And
So there are very, very good VSOs and there's some very, very bad. So
Absolutely.
that's what we told him. he got some horror stories from that meeting. And he said he would start looking into it. So that's going to help if they can get people that, even if they're part-time, that they get the knowledge. And then when these vets come in, and they can sit to them and say, well, here's what you're entitled to. Let me look up your records, instead of sitting there and saying, well, I'll have to look into it and I'll get back to you. And then they never hear from them.
Yeah.
And that's sad. And that's sad, because you're right. There are veterans out there that are not getting taken care of, that need to be taken care of. And it's not fair.
Well, the veterans and the Veterans Administration for this part of the country is probably one of the best. And yet I, for
Believe it or
PTSD,
not.
waited 6 months to get the claim to even go to a psychiatrist in Pittsfield and Nashua, New Hampshire. So, and this is the best part of the country. So that was 6 months and another month for a result.
When they told me that there are 50,000 claims going in a month just in this part of New England, and that's one of the holdup on a lot of the claims. But there's a document called the 966, which is the intent to file document that will give a reimbursement. In other words, if they decide your claim 8 months down the road, and you're going to be getting a monthly stipend now of $3,600 a month, that's 3,600 times 8. They'll get one large check. That money's it's all reimbursable back to the fact once the compensation pen is established. So when I tell people that, they go, what do you mean? I said, well, the VA right now is backlogged tremendously. That doesn't mean you're not going to get taken care of, both medically, most importantly, with appointments at the VA, at the different VA hospitals, but with the financial aspects of it. Because a lot of these guys, and women, they could have, instead of going off to war, they could have been doing other things. Or they went ahead and did more than was expected of them in country, in battle, in combat, and wounded or injured because of it. As you've seen all the commercial television, you've seen it all. You may even know a lot of them, what they're going through, not so much the physical aspect, but the mental aspect of it. These are our mentally ill folks right now, folks, that are in the VA system, who need the help to get them through a day-to-day basis. That's it.
Everyone, I apologize. I'm late for another Zoom that I'm committed on, but I'll watch the rest of this meeting when it's posted, and I will follow up with both you Paul, and Dave as well, and then I'll have hopefully an update to everyone at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Councilor Dombrowski, before you jump,
Sure.
The way I look at this, and I'll sum this up, and we're going to move on our agenda. If we can't fix the distribution of veteran benefits, that has a reflection on the future of the force. Because the younger generation is going to ask, why should I join the military?
Sure.
If I can't get the benefits?
Understood. All right. Thank you. Good to see you all. I apologize.
One high school student applied for the military last year out of the senior class of Wakefield High School. So that shows you right there.
Let's move on, if that's okay with the committee. Okay. There is another issue that is that was brought up in the December minutes and the December meeting that we tabled to the January meeting, and that is there a motion to open the discussion about the reeds at Lakeside Cemetery? Okay, we currently have the reeds. We distribute 430 reeds at Forest Glade Cemetery in the veterans sections only. Okay, there is no designated veterans section at Lakeside Cemetery that I am aware of. Okay, and it requires a little bit of work. And this was something that Dale, you brought up last month. So I'm going to ask the council if there's a motion to open this up for discussion.
Well, I'm I'm for discussing it because it's,
So do you want to make a
I-
motion to open it for
yes, I
discussion?
do. Yes, please. I make a motion, we open the discussion regarding wreaths at Lakeside Cemetery.
Is
For
there a second?
wreaths across America.
Is there a second to Dale Finley's request to discuss?
Ah,
I'll second it
Okay.
just so we can talk about it, because I know Dale was supposed to do a lot of looking into and finding out about things, and I think we should give him the chance to hear it.
Okay, so it's been seconded. Dale, do you want to go ahead?
well, I've contacted one of the directors of the trustees, pardon me, a board of trustees for the Lakeside Cemetery to see if he was even open to the idea of putting wreaths on any of the veterans' plots, and he saw no problem with it, but he indicated that their board meets quarterly, and their board meets now at the end of January. I will say the following, okay? I am not looking for us to be able to, or require us to put wreaths on all the various cemeteries around, okay? That in Lakeside or the Jewish cemetery, not whether they would even want them. All I'm looking for is that there be a way that the people who have family that are interned in Lakeside can get a wreath, okay, from the Wreaths Across America that they could put on their tombs, on the graves of their relatives, if they so desired. And
Miriam?
I'm not looking for any kind of a program at Lakeside or anything like that, just to see if we could make that so that we got our veterans. There are World War II veterans in Lakeside, a number of them, okay? And the Boy Scouts, when I raised the question, I
Dale?
was told
Miriam has something to offer here.
Dale, anybody that wants to get a wreath from Wreath Across America can donate to Wreath Across America and have it sent to them, and they can put it on the grave themselves. This is not something that we have to have all these extra wreaths sent to us. What we concentrate on here is the veterans' graves in you know, it's gone right out of my head.
For Forest Glade
but-
Cemetery and the veteran section.
And Forest Glade. And what you're asking for is 100% possible, because anybody that wants to can go online, go to Wreaths Across America, can order a wreath, and they can ask to have it sent to their home.
okay, with
That's true.
additional
So, I
cost.
mean, that's
With
easily
additional
said.
there, we have a supply of wreaths which are delivered, okay? And the person, I don't know if you would double the cost, okay, for one thing, then people may not want to do that. It's only one item, okay? I don't know, okay? Well, I
If
guess
they all if the families of Lakeside wanted to get together, they could go with the Wreaths Across America. And
they don't get,
they don't
have no way
charge,
of
they
getting
don't
together.
charge, they charge the same thing for everybody.
Yeah.
They do not up the cost for single donors. They charge the same thing for everybody. If they all wanted to get together as a group and go to Wreath Across America and ask if they could buy together X amount of wreaths for whatever and have them dropped at Lakeside, that's something they might be able to negotiate. They do not up the cost for a single wreath. That they do not do that. The cost is the same for every single person. So my suggestion would be that you go on to the Wreaths Across America site and just see exactly what they could do for you in that strain. Because otherwise you'd have to have the people saying, I want to donate. I think they went up to $20 this year, but I can't remember offhand. I want to donate a wreath to my father and give the name, and they would have to put that name on. If it was going to be dropped off with Lakeside, then they'd have to go through every wreath that came in and pick out individually those individually donated wreaths.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. If one person does it, they ask where it's going. But I would suggest you go on Wreaths Across America and talk to them, because they're very amicable about, what they do. They would help out if that's something you wanted to organize to the people at Lakeside to do. They would maybe find a way to do it for you.
Yeah.
Because they're very open to things like that. So you
Yeah.
might want to talk to them, but they won't cost you, a wreath will not cost you more, but because you order it singly.
I think after
Okay.
that snowfall we had a few years ago, like 14 inches, you couldn't tell where where a veteran was. And the only people that really know where the veteran slot is their family. And I think best, even if they did it at Forest Glade, collected them there, you could attend the ceremony at Forest Glade, take with you that wreath and bring it to Lakeside, which is, a private cemetery. So, and, if there's many veterans that are buried at Forest Glade Cemetery out in the back area, other than the veterans lot, that we don't put anything on. But I mean, they could order it, have it picked up in Wakefield and then brought to Lakeside and have their own little ceremony, and they know exactly where it's going to go.
That's interesting you mentioned that, because I saw a bunch of the wreaths that went from there was like, I'm going to say 300 that were put on the initial graves, and then there was like 100 plus that people carried around to the rest of the area of the cemetery at Forest Glen, and put those wreaths next to those those plots.
There were only 2 extra wreaths. And I know that because one of them was supposed to be mine to put down at Joe Bellavere's, and 2 people walked off with the 2 extra wreaths. That's all there were. There were not 100 extra wreaths brought around the grave. I mean, I have friends of mine whose parents are there, and their fathers are veterans. They didn't get any wreaths put on their grave, and they were there putting them out. So that didn't happen. It may have looked like they were walking around with them to bring them someplace else, but I know there were 2, but that's all there was.
And plus, I think
Okay.
we have code for Forest Glade Cemetery. And I think that's also shared with Dennis Fazio, who does it for the town. And it's kind of a shared event that we do.
I will say Dennis does and the DPW folks that maintain that cemetery do a tremendous job to help us out with that program.
Okay.
I wish we could put a wreath on every veteran in Wakefield, like we do Memorial Day. It's hard enough finding just to put a flag down Memorial Day. I mean, you have to look hard at some of these older cemeteries,
Any other points, Dale? I hope that discussion kind of sort of put it into focus a little bit. My suggestion would be to follow what Miriam said and contact Wreaths Across America, okay, and maybe provide the member of the board of directors with some contact information at Wreaths Across America, and maybe they want to get involved and do something there.
Well, to my knowledge, there's no organization of anybody at the Lakeside Cemetery regarding the veterans. They acknowledge that they have veterans there, but there's no individuals, okay, who are a group that you can approach and talk to regarding the veterans that are buried
Lakeside
there.
does not have a veterans section.
Put it in the paper, Dale. Put it in the paper to see if people who have veterans, family veterans at Lakeside, if they might want to get together and organize getting wreaths for those graves.
I don't, that's a great idea. I agree with that. That's one of the things I wanted to put
I think
forward.
that get their own code too from Reese Across America.
And yeah, if they, you could get a group together, that's what I'm saying. Wreaths Across America is very receptive. And they can maybe just get their own donation code that they can all donate to. And when they bring the wreaths for Forest Glade and drop them that same day, they could drop the whatever is ordered at, but just work with Wreaths Across America. They're very easy to work with and they're very receptive, but you can gather people that might want to do it by putting something in the paper and see who comes and says, yeah, I'd like to do that.
We can certainly give that a try. And that's really all I was saying that I wanted to do, was give these people the opportunity to be able to, if they wanted to put a wreath on their grave of their relative that there. So that's it. That's good for me. I will contact Wreaths Across America. And also I would just want to still confirm that they don't have any problem with the Board of Trustees at Lakeside. As I said, he'll get back to me around the end of January, early part of February.
We
And if I
actually
hear something from,
all the veterans that are in Lakeside Cemetery, the old burying grounds, and Forest Glade, an actual list and a map that was, I think, put together by the Grand Army of the Republic. It was a reenactment group, but it'd be impossible to find them in the wintertime, especially if there's snow.
yeah, well, if you walk in there in Lakeside, you can see most of them, of the veterans, have a bronze thing in the ground. Okay.
Most.
Not all.
Yeah.
Not all. Okay. Enough of discussion on it. I'm through.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the last item here, and I'd like to open the floor for discussion. Okay, I'm requesting a motion to open the floor for discussion to getting junior ROTC resources to provide, I guess, an honor guard and marksman. I don't want to call it a firing squad, but I guess that's what it is. The gun salute and other support for our events. Okay, I'd like to open the floor for discussion for junior ROTC support to render honors and the 21 gun salute for other events. Is there a second?
I second that.
Second, okay.
Can I make an amendment to that? Just asking not junior ROTC, but any group that could do it. I mean, you
Sure.
might be a Civil Air Patrol or somebody that has marksmen in it that could do it, but not just junior ROTC.
Okay, no, that's fine. The yeah, any group would be fine. It could be an American Legion group. It could be, you know, a VFW group, somebody that does those types of services.
Didn't we already get information on that? Chris,
I'm gonna-
didn't you give us
I'm gonna
information on
yield
that?
to, I'm
I'm
gonna
trying
yield
to find it in my files, but they're a mess.
I'm
But
gonna point to Chris.
I did, yes. Several months ago, I reached out to, I don't know, a dozen JROTCs from the North Shore here. I did get contact back from almost all of them. I think it was over the summer that I sent it, actually, so I was surprised to get contact back. But most of the JROTC instructors said, hey, that we can certainly support that. We have varying capacities of things we can support. Just let us know as the events get a little bit closer. And I haven't circled back with any of them to be transparent, because I think it came up again in maybe October or November, and it seemed a little more ambiguous then. So I didn't do anything more with it yet.
Well, I would say that what we want them for is the Memorial Day events, okay, and at a minimum, and then at the Wreaths Across America, as we play taps. The taps and the gun salute are two things that normally go along with a military type burial.
So one thing that I am looking forward to doing for Memorial Day this year is the event on the Common,
Right, which we used to do.
which is the way we've done it many times in the past. as opposed to doing Memorial Day inside the Galvin Middle School. And that would support a 21 gun salute. Okay. I
Thank you.
also, I can't coordinate, this body can't coordinate for other organizations like the West Side Social Club. Okay. But if we maybe take the lead and get a team together for the 21 gun salute for the 1 o'clock program on Memorial Day 2024, that would be good. And that the same group might also be available for the West Side Social Club.
So can we get in touch with you, Chris, to see who we might be able to get, or, because I'm on the committee for the Memorial Day, even though I'm not going to be there again this year, but I'm on the committee, and if we can get that, coordinate with you maybe to get the same one as the Veterans Advisory Board gets for the town Memorial Day, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, so I can I have that date now. So May 27th at 1 o'clock, you said we're looking for a 21 gun salute or firing detail. So I can certainly dig back through those emails and see what schools had that capacity and email their.
And
their-
Okay.
it'd be the same for the West Side Social Club, be the same date, only it's at 10 o'clock.
Could be a very busy day for any groups. So,
Yeah.
Well, there may be we may be able to pull two groups off then, unless one is interested in doing both events. So yeah, let me throw some notes back out to those folks. I can do that tomorrow, and re-engage the conversation and see what happens.
Yeah,
That day tomorrow morning. I'm working from home tomorrow, so I've got time.
Chris, it would be a good idea to get two groups just to be safe.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I can do that.
probably.
And then as I start to identify the right folks, it seems like we have a couple of groups that can support it. I'll begin to loop in some others too, so that information doesn't just proverbially die with me.
a little stipend wouldn't hurt either. Maybe give them a little meal in between.
Yeah. Dave Mangan has his hand up.
Yes, also for Memorial Day, and it would be appropriate as a backdrop with the 21 gun salute. I'm going to be working on getting the Medal of Fidelity or the Medal of Liberty and or the Korean Ambassador for Peace Medal over the next 4 or 5 months for any veterans in the community that are worthy and are entitled to them. That's one of the areas I'd like to focus on. It's difficult on 18 hours. A priority is a priority. But I will try to get at least 2. Every year I manage to get 2, 3, or 4 in some cases to the recipients. And I'm hoping to do it again now. And Marion, if you know of any Wakefield residents that have not received them, that is the surviving spouse, please let me know and I'll follow up on that for us.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Thank you.
I think that there are a couple that have not, but I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Kind of going back to Chris, we probably should be ginning up the DD2. There's a Department of Defense form, 2536, requesting military support from the National Guard and other military units for Memorial Day.
Yeah, I am familiar with the form. I don't think JROTC's applied that. They're not military units. They're obviously a school organization.
Would there be any support that we could use from the recruiters for Memorial Day?
Yes, 100%. Yes. So they call that a domestic a DOMOP, a domestic operation. I think somebody else and I spoke about it earlier. Maybe it was Dale. I don't remember who the conversation happened with. This was going back a couple of months. But yeah, there is a way to do it. You submit it to Hanscom Air Force Base, to the domestic operations cell, and they essentially assign those missions out to units that are local. So ours would probably go to a unit located on Camp Curtis Guild. I don't want to get involved in it because that would blur a pretty serious line of my full-time day job. I'd walk somebody through the process.
I'd be happy. So I'd be happy to submit the form.
Yep.
And I know where to submit it. Okay. The question that I have for the committee and the group here is what type of military support? These are National Guard and active duty type assets and resources. They offer vehicle support. They offer recruits,
So they offer
soldiers?
color guard, they offer bugle players, the traditional stuff you would associate with the Memorial Day ceremony, the 21 gun salute, bugler, that sort of stuff is also on the table.
What I'm thinking of maybe is maybe a vehicle. Usually the bugle is going to come out of the high school. I'm counting on Caroline Dill and Miss Hathaway, the same that did the Reeds and the same that did Veterans Day. This is their senior year, and that will be their last ceremony. And I'd like to kind of single them out and honor them with something. I'll come up with but what I would like to do is get the military presence at the outdoor ceremony somehow.
Yep. If there's anything I can do going to Hanscom or anything like that, I'd be more than willing to do that.
Well, I can submit the form. That's not usually it's a Humvee or two.
And is it what, 2 months in advance, Paul? Maybe 3 months in advance, they want that form submitted?
Yes.
At least, I would imagine.
Yes, they got to get on their schedules.
That's one of the reasons I brought it up, is because I could see time passing and not getting anything going yet. What about ammunition also? When I say ammunition, I mean the blanks. Okay, better needed for it too.
They come self-contained. Chris, would they do I'm thinking of an honor guard or a color guard with the service flags.
Yes, they would, just like they did at the football game.
The lacrosse game.
The lacrosse game, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was just when I came home, probably April or May of last year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with enough lead time. We're 120 days out right now. This is plenty of time for the National Guard to take that request, process it, and get it somebody that can support it. I would say there's a high likelihood.
What's the proper terminology for the services in the honor guard, in the color guard?
It would be it's a color guard with it's a full color guard essentially. With you're talking about each of the flags, each of the services flags.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a full color guard, and that would come with rifle guards on either side. That may be difficult, right? That's 6, 7, 8, 9, upwards of
That's 9.
So that may be difficult for them to fill if you think about all the Memorial Day events happening around the state of Massachusetts. I mean,
which is why we need to get the request in sooner.
Sure. And if they can't fill a full one, they could certainly probably fill a partial color guard.
I know Hanscom used to have what they call a Patriot Color Guard, I think they called them.
Yeah, sure. They still have the team, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're spending most of their days doing funeral services, right? They're doing 5 or 6 or 7 funerals a day. That takes up a lot of their time.
Yeah, the funerals
this is within reason.
Okay. I'll add a couple vehicles to put on the common.
Sure.
Just,
I think,
for families to take their kids out and they can crawl around on them, before the ceremony, after the ceremony type of thing.
Yep. I'll still reach out to the JROTCs, and then I think we'll probably meet somewhere in the middle here soon on it.
Yes. Yeah, I think if they can do the firing of the 21 gun salute for the JROTC, that would be good. And again, just keep in touch by email to kind of get that going back and forth.
Okay.
Okay. Last item I want to open the floor for discussion. I'll just make this a simple one. Any objection to donating the money that was given, the $2,900 that was given to the Veterans Advisory Board in Wakefield to the Veterans Relief Fund and Town Hall? Is there any objection to that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? No.
I'll let Jay know that tomorrow at some point.
Okay. Just an FYI, that's where the half that went to Saugus went. That went to the same thing, the relief fund. Speaking of Mr. Panett and the VFW, just a casual reminder, there is an event on the Thursday night, the 25th. It's comedian, kind of sort of a veteran group there, with a veteran focus in the audience, I'm sure. But it's open to all veterans and their spouses and guests. If you would like to go to the VFW, the cost is $15 a person. I think it starts at 7 o'clock. And if you need tickets, let me know. Okay. I do plan to go. And
Good. That's,
Yeah.
I'm planning on going too.
Good.
Well,
Okay. I just going around the horn very quickly. Anything from the secretary to report?
Just real quick, Paul, we have 3 terms expiring in April, myself, Christy, and Joe. So you all should have received an email from Sherry stating if you'd like to reapply to a new 3-year term, you must do so by February 2nd. And there was a link to do so in the email from Sherry. So if you didn't get that, let me know and I'll make sure you get it.
Okay. Thank you. Anything from the vice chairman, Marion?
Nope,
Nothing?
nothing I could think of.
Good discussion tonight. I want to thank everybody. First of all, Happy New Year to everybody from the chairman. Just a shout out to Father Tom Riley, Counselor Ed Dombrowski, and Dennis Fazio, and also the team from WCAT, the team of one, Ian, who recorded the event in December over at Forest Glades Cemetery. They did a terrific job. I actually got a chance to hear for a second time Counselor Dombrowski's words, and I got to tell you, they were really moving, and you did a great job.
good.
Here, here.
Well, the Four Chaplains event on February 3rd, we gonna send out a memoir to the community on that item?
I'll take care of the public relations on that. Okay, for the 4 chaplains, I am working with Rabbi Hirsch. And that event is at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, which is the 3rd of February. It's 9 o'clock in front of the Temple Emmanuel. Okay, on Saturday morning. And it is a quick ceremony for 2 reasons. Number one, it's usually outside and it may be cold. So it's going to be quick. But the other reason it's going to be quick is because the temple has services that start at 9:30. So they're going to gather outside with us. If it is too cold, they have said that Rabbi Hirsch said that they will invite us inside like they did last year. But because it's on a Saturday this year, that is their Sabbath.
Right.
Okay, and they're 9:30. I will ask for some help from this group. Okay, if you would like to read, it's about 50 words about each one of the chaplains. Okay, 50 words per chaplain. Okay, it introduces the chaplain, it introduces their faith and where they are in the country and what they did on that day. There's a story that we have. If you are interested in reading one of the chaplains, please feel free to reach out to me. I think some of you have done this in the past. Miriam, I think you did it last year. It's a moving ceremony, and it's something very, very good in these times to reflect upon.
Maybe we could get WCAT to show. I think they have like 5 or 6 minute clips, maybe Friday night before the Saturday event.
Would you like to talk to Ian about that?
I can, yeah. I know they've already got some already made up.
Okay. asking Ian would be appreciated. Thank you very much. And I think Ian or Barbara could probably pull that off without much difficulty. I don't think there's a need for them to film it. Okay. And I think they're a little short. But
I can send photographs of the monument itself with the flags around it, Paul, that I've already sent out to you, I believe, with the wreath behind it. I sent it out about 2 weeks ago when I went over and put the new flags in place.
yeah, I think I have that. I can pass that. I'll pass that to Ian in an email.
There you go. Yeah.
Dan, if you could follow up with the story with WCAT, that'd be terrific.
You
And
want
like I
to
said, they
talk
could
to
show that Friday night or something, or Friday, and people seeing that might come to the event on Saturday.
Yes.
Well, do you want flowers again?
Yes, that would be lovely if you could do that.
Yep, I'll pick them up. I'll pick up
Okay.
a bouquet.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I know Dave, did you have some woman that makes the wreaths?
Well, she's in Florida right now.
Okay.
The last wreath she made is at the veterans sign that you have over there, Veterans Field. Hey, Dan, while I was asking, while we're on the subject, real quick, when did the Veterans Field sign get put in place? Dedication. What was that? 2022?
2022. That was
All right.
November 2022.
Yeah, because the signage that I have on my hallway there, it's a great picture of you and Lois on the sign and the crew that was there. But there's no date on that, so I want to put a date on that placard in my hallway. So
It does
22.
it on the sign. It says the date.
I didn't notice that, but really, okay,
Yes,
I'll look at
Yeah,
that.
look at the sign
It's
close.
on the sign.
Gonna have close and personal to it, I guess. Yeah, you and Lois stand out better. So hi, Lois.
I didn't want to interrupt. Being a bad girl, I shouldn't be here.
All right. The next meeting that we have is February 27. And the reason that this is kind of a long break, the reason we have February 27 is because in June of last year, we elected to not meet during school vacation week.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that those of you that have kids and families can take off with the kids and grandkids and everything else. So we'll circle back on February 27, okay, at 6:30 p.m. with a Zoom, okay? Any matters that were not anticipated on the agenda?
I have one short, quick one.
Sure.
And as you know, and I'm sure Dave knows, all the boards and committees in Wakefield have been trying to get the Pledge of Allegiance said at the start of their meetings, including the town council meeting many years ago. I went to the town council, the youth council, and suggested that they do the Pledge of Allegiance before the start of their meetings. And I contacted, I think it's Catherine Dinger, and also the head of the youth council, which is Ally. And I think they're going to bring this up at their next meeting, but this is personally from me, not the Veterans Advisory Board, but I'm trying to get them to say it, seeing the town council says it. It took many years to get them to say it.
I think it's also required by the bylaws in town. I'm only
There's still a
saying
few-
that, Dan,
still a
because
few.
if you go to the bylaws in town and find it, that helps to make that decision.
Well, it took, I think about 6 years ago with Peter May was the one that brought it up for me. He says, Dan, I'll get it done, and he did.
Yes, he did. And I think it is part of the, Peter, I think, made it a part of the town bylaws. You may want to research that. Marion.
You don't want to force people to do it, but if they want to do it, I think it's proper and it's nice to do it, especially with the youth council.
Okay.
Can I just, Paul, just quickly, can I ask you and Dave, if either one of you have any idea when they are going to do the changing of the commander for the USS Constitution?
I just know it's
Have
going
they
to
set a
be,
date for that?
they have not set a date to the best of my knowledge. It's in June.
I know
Okay.
it's in June because I was talking to her at the
Commander Farrell
Amanda,
was
but
able to
he
get the
didn't ha-
Department of the Navy to make a decision to
Okay.
extend it so that they do not do another change of command in the month of January.
Right, right.
Okay,
That's why
because
she was extended 6 months because.
it was extended so that they could have a larger audience in nicer weather in New England.
Okay,
I don't have a date.
I'll find out. I'll
I
find
don't
out.
have a date yet. I
I
just
just
know
didn't
it's
know if
June.
you might have had a date.
No, do not.
Save me the trouble.
And when you find out the date, let me know.
I will. I'm going to email her personally and ask her to let me know.
I do want to say congratulations to Commander Ingram, who is now the commander of the USS Thomas Hudner. And also congratulations to Commander Shelby Nickerton, who is now heading to her next assignment in Newport, Rhode Island at the Naval War College.
Congrats.
Huh?
I said congrats.
Congrats. Okay.
Now, does she actually live in Wakefield,
Who?
Shelby?
I believe that they do. They are new residents in Wakefield, yes. But her assignment is going to be in Newport, Rhode Island. So I don't know. I have not had a discussion with her about how that's all working out. I have met with her and her husband, okay, socially, okay, but those things didn't come up. And to be honest with you, Dan, she needs her space. So don't get too close. Okay, they got a lot going on right now. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second? Second?
Yep.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for your participation and your time. I do appreciate your inputs and Happy New Year.